The dust swirled around the hooves of her horse as Rose McAllister rode hard across the south pasture. Gunfire cracked in the distance, sharp and unforgiving under the Texas sun. She had been tracking the suspicious truck for miles after spotting it cutting through her fence line at dawn. No one trespassed on the McAllister ranch without consequence. But this was different. This was evil. She crested the ridge and saw them. 3 men dragging a small girl toward the waiting vehicle, her wrists bound, her cries muffled by the wind. The girl couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Rose's blood ran cold. Without hesitation, she drew her rifle from the saddle holster and fired a warning shot into the air. "Let her go!" Her voice boomed across the plain. The traffickers turned, weapons raised. Rose didn't flinch. She had faced worse in her life. Boardroom battles, political backstabbing, and the constant fight to keep her family's legacy alive against developers hungry for her land. But this was personal in a way she couldn't yet understand. She spurred her horse forward, firing again to scatter them. Chaos erupted. One man fell as her shot hit his leg. The others scattered, leaving the girl behind in their panic. Rose leaped from the saddle and scooped the terrified child into her arms. "You're safe now, sweetheart. I've got you." That was 5 years ago. The girl, whom she named Emma after her grandmother, had become the center of Rose's world. The authorities never found the girl's family, and after months of legal battles, Rose had become her legal guardian. Emma thrived on the ranch, riding horses, learning to rope cattle, her laughter filling the old farmhouse. Rose had built walls around her heart after the painful end of her relationship with Sadie all those years ago. Coming out in their conservative circles would have destroyed both their futures. Sadie's rising political career and Rose's ranching empire. They had chosen ambition over love, or at least Sadie had. Rose had never stopped wondering what if. Now at 38, Rose stood on the porch watching Emma. Now 13, practice barrel racing in the corral. The ranch was under siege again. A powerful development corporation, backed by state politicians, wanted her land for a massive energy project. The lead advocate was none other than State Senator Sadie Thompson, the woman who still haunted Rose's dreams. Sadie had climbed the ladder by playing the perfect straight, ambitious politician. Their past was buried deep, or so Rose thought. A black SUV pulled up the long driveway. Rose's jaw tightened as the door opened and Sadie stepped out, looking every bit the powerful woman in her tailored suit, her dark hair pulled back severely. Their eyes met across the distance, and for a moment, the years melted away. Then Emma rode up on her pony, waving excitedly. "Mom, look at this," she called to Rose. Sadie froze, her face draining of color as she stared at the girl. Rose felt a chill run down her spine. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The next morning Rose drove Emma to school in the old pickup, the radio humming low with news of the latest legislative session in Austin. Sadie's bill was gaining traction, the one that would rezone thousands of acres of prime ranch land for corporate use. Rose had spent weeks in backroom meetings trying to kill it, calling in every favor she had earned over 2 decades of fighting for family farms. She never expected Sadie to be the face of the opposition. Back at the house, Rose poured herself coffee and opened the file on her laptop. The adoption papers for Emma were there, along with the DNA report the state had run 5 years earlier. No matches. The girl had been a ghost until Rose found her. A soft knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. When she opened it, Sadie stood on the porch, eyes red-rimmed, clutching a manila envelope. "We need to talk," Sadie said, voice barely above a whisper. "About the girl." Rose stepped aside, heart hammering. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where they had once shared late-night plans and whispered promises. Sadie slid the envelope across the wood. Inside were medical records and a fresh DNA test Sadie had ordered after seeing Emma yesterday. The results were unmistakable. Emma was Sadie's biological daughter. The room spun. Rose remembered the rumors from college, Sadie's brief relationship with a man before she fully understood herself, the pregnancy she had hidden from everyone, the adoption she had arranged in secret to protect her future. Rose had been the one Sadie turned to afterward, the one who held her while she cried. Now that child was here, living under Rose's roof. How? Rose asked, though she already knew. Sadie's hands trembled. "I thought she was safe. The agency said the family was solid." Then she vanished. I searched for years in private, but the trail went cold. Until yesterday. Rose stood pacing the kitchen. You never told me her name. You never told me anything after you walked away. I walked away because staying would have cost us everything, Sadie shot back. You know that. Texas politics doesn't forgive women like us. One photo, one rumor, and my career ends. Your ranch ends. We made a choice. Rose stopped, staring at the woman she had never stopped loving. And now? What do we do with the choice we made then? Sadie looked out the window toward the corral where Emma was brushing her pony. I don't know. But this bill, if it passes, your land is gone. And if I pull support now, my donors will crucify me. I'm up for re-election next year. The governor's race is already calling. The silence stretched between them, thick with everything they had lost and everything they might still lose. Outside, Emma's laughter carried on the wind. Rose felt the first crack in the walls she had built. Love and ambition had always been at war inside her. Today the war had a face, and it was 13 years old. Weeks blurred into a tense dance of secrets. Rose kept Emma's routine: normal school, ranch chores, weekend rodeos, while Sadie's visits became nightly occurrences under the cover of darkness. They spoke in hushed tones on the back porch, the same porch where they had once kissed under the stars 10 years earlier. The chemistry was still there, electric and dangerous. One night Sadie reached for Rose's hand, and Rose let her. The simple touch sending years of buried longing through her veins. But the bill loomed. Sadie's office released new polling numbers showing strong support for the energy project among urban voters. Rose's lawyers filed injunctions, citing environmental impact on the aquifer that fed her cattle. The local paper ran a front-page story. Rancher versus senator. Old rivals, new stakes. Neither article mentioned the girl living on the ranch. Emma noticed the tension. Is that lady from the government your friend? She asked one evening while they cleaned stalls. Rose hesitated. She's someone I knew a long time ago. Emma shrugged. But her eyes held questions Rose wasn't ready to answer. That night Sadie arrived earlier than usual, carrying takeout from their favorite Austin barbecue joint. They ate on the porch, Emma already asleep upstairs. I ran the numbers again, Sadie said between bites. If I kill the bill, my biggest donor pulls funding. He owns half the PACs in the state. I lose the governor's race before it starts. Rose set her fork down. And if you pass it, I lose the ranch my grandfather built. Emma loses the only home she's ever known. Is that the price of your ambition? Sadie's eyes flashed with the old fire Rose had fallen for in law school. Don't make this about me alone. You chose the ranch over us too. You said you couldn't leave Texas soil. I said I couldn't leave the fight for change. We both picked survival. The words stung because they were true. Rose stood, walking to the railing. Below, the land stretched dark and endless. Emma changes everything. She's yours. She's mine now too. We can't keep pretending the past didn't happen. Sadie joined her, their shoulders brushing. I want to tell her. But the moment I do, the press will dig. They'll find out about us. One leaked photo from college and it's over for both of us. You know how this state works. Rose turned, cupping Sadie's face. The touch was gentle, full of the tenderness they had denied themselves for a decade. Then we fight smarter. Not against each other. For the first time since the discovery, Sadie leaned in and kissed her, soft, desperate, a promise and a plea. They held each other under the stars, the weight of their choices pressing down, but the love refusing to die. The next morning Rose received a certified letter. The corporation was moving forward with eminent domain proceedings. Sadie's signature was on the supporting affidavit. Cause and effect. The rescue 5 years ago had brought Emma into Rose's life. Emma's existence now forced Sadie's hand in the political arena. Sadie's hand threatened everything Rose had built. The chain was tightening. The Texas state capitol buzzed with the usual energy when Rose drove to Austin for the committee hearing. She wore her best suit, cowboy boots polished, Stetson in hand, a deliberate statement. Emma stayed with a trusted neighbor. Sadie sat at the head table, cool and professional, but Rose caught the flicker in her eyes when their gazes met. Rose testified first, laying out decades of data on water rights, wildlife corridors, and family farms. This isn't progress, she said into the microphone. This is theft dressed as development. The room murmured. Sadie's colleagues shifted uncomfortably. When Sadie spoke, her voice was steady. Progress requires sacrifice. The energy project will create thousands of jobs and secure our future. She didn't look at Rose. The vote passed committee. Rose felt the blow like a physical punch. Outside in the hallway, Sadie cornered her near the elevators. I had no choice. My staff leaked the donor threats. If I flip now, I'm finished. You had a choice the moment you saw Emma on my porch, Rose replied, voice low. You chose the same path you chose 10 years ago. Sadie's mask cracked. I'm trying to protect her too. If the press connects me to her, they'll dig into the adoption. They'll find the gaps. Then they'll find you and me. Rose stepped closer. Then let them. We raise her together. Quietly at first. The ranch can survive if we fight the right battles. Sadie laughed bitterly. You still believe love wins. I learned it doesn't. Not here. She walked away, heels clicking on marble. That night back at the ranch, Emma asked about the hearing. Rose told her the truth in careful pieces. Some people want our land for big projects. We're fighting to keep it. Emma hugged her. We won't lose, Mom. You always win. The innocent faith cut deeper than any political knife. The following week, a private investigator showed up at the ranch gate. Someone had hired him to look into Emma's background. Rose sent him away, but the message was clear. Someone close was leaking. The only person who knew the full story was Sadie. The betrayal settled in Rose's chest like winter frost. She drove to Sadie's Austin condo under cover of night. When Sadie opened the door, Rose didn't wait. You hired someone to dig? Sadie pulled her inside. No. But my campaign manager suspects something. He thinks I'm too soft on the ranch bill because of you. I told him to back off. They argued for an hour. Voices rising, then falling into exhausted silence. Finally, Sadie pulled Rose into her arms. I'm scared, she admitted. For the first time in years, I'm scared of losing more than an election. They spent the night talking, really talking about the child they now shared, the life they might have had. No promises, only raw honesty. When Rose left at dawn, she carried a fragile hope. But hope, she knew, was a dangerous luxury in their world. The scandal broke on a Tuesday. A conservative blog posted photos. Rose and Sadie leaving the same hotel in Dallas 6 months earlier, before the rescue even happened. The headline screamed senator and rancher. Secret meetings raise questions about land bill. Rose's phone exploded. Reporters camped at the gate. Emma's school called. Photographers were outside. Rose pulled Emma from class and drove her home, heart racing. Sadie's office issued a statement denying any impropriety, calling the photos old friends catching up. Inside the farmhouse, Rose and Sadie faced each other across the kitchen table once more. This is your fault, Rose said quietly. You pushed the bill too hard. Someone followed you. Sadie's face was pale. Or someone followed you. My manager wants me to denounce the ranch publicly. Distance myself completely. And Emma? Rose asked. Sadie looked away. I can't claim her yet. Not without destroying my chances for governor. The party won't back a candidate with a secret child and a lesbian past. The words hung heavy. Rose felt the old wound reopen. So you'll sacrifice her again? Like you did before she was even born. Sadie stood, pacing. I'm trying to survive so I can fight for her later. If I lose everything now, I have nothing to give her. That night Rose lay awake listening to Emma's even breathing down the hall. Sadie had left hours earlier, slipping out the back. The cause was clear. The rescue had brought Emma into their lives. The DNA truth had forced them together. The political pressure was now tearing them apart. Effect. Rose's empire and Sadie's career were on the same collision course. The next morning Rose called her lawyer. File for full custody. No contact with Sadie until further notice. The decision was cold, calculated, born of survival. She hated herself for it, but Emma's safety came first. Sadie's text arrived an hour later. I understand. I'm sorry. Months dragged in a fog of court dates and media storms. Rose won temporary sole custody, citing Sadie's political schedule as unstable. The ranch bill stalled in the full Senate, thanks to Rose's relentless lobbying. Donations poured in from family farm advocates. But the personal cost mounted. Emma asked every day why Senator Sadie no longer visited. Rose's answers grew thinner. One evening Sadie showed up unannounced, rain soaking her suit. "I'm dropping the bill," she said the moment Rose opened the door. "I told my donors to go to hell. I can't do this anymore." Rose let her in. They sat on the couch, the same couch where they had once planned a future. Sadie's hand found Rose's. "I've been a coward. The ambition blinded me. But seeing Emma every day in the news clips, knowing she's mine, I can't keep choosing power over her. Over us." They talked until dawn. Sadie outlined a new plan. Come out together, quietly at first, then publicly after the custody was finalized. Rose listened, hope flickering again. But trust was fragile now. When Sadie left, Rose watched her taillights disappear and wondered if this was another calculated move. The following week the governor called Sadie into a closed meeting. Rose heard through sources that Sadie had been offered a deal: kill the ranch bill entirely and receive full party backing for governor, or face a primary challenge funded by the energy lobby. Sadie refused. The retaliation was swift. Leaked documents surfaced showing Sadie's old adoption records. The press descended. Emma's face was blurred in every article, but the damage was done. Sadie's polling numbers plummeted. Rose's ranch faced new lawsuits from the corporation. In the chaos, Rose made another cold decision. She filed an injunction against Sadie's campaign for using Emma's image in sympathy ads without permission. The filing was public. Sadie's campaign manager called it a betrayal. Rose called it protection. The war between love and survival had reached its peak. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and desperation. Rose sat at one table, Sadie at the other, lawyers between them. Emma waited in a side room with a guardian ad litem. The judge reviewed the latest DNA evidence and the mountain of character statements. Outside, reporters shouted questions about the lesbian rancher and the senator. Inside, Rose looked across the aisle and met Sadie's eyes. For the first time in months there was no calculation, only raw pain and love. The judge ruled in Rose's favor for permanent custody but ordered supervised visitation for Sadie, citing the child's best interest. As they left the courthouse, Sadie caught Rose's arm. "I'm dropping out of the governor's race," she said. "I'm coming home. To both of you. If you'll still have me." Rose searched her face for the old ambition and found only honesty. "We'll try," she answered. "But no more secrets. No more choices that cost us everything." They walked to the car together, Emma between them. The ranch waited under the big Texas sky, scarred but still standing. The energy project had been tabled indefinitely. Careers had been damaged, trust rebuilt slowly, love tested to its limit. Each step forward had cost something irreplaceable. Years apart, public scrutiny, the illusion that ambition and heart could coexist without sacrifice. Yet here they were, three people bound by blood, choice, and a rescue that had changed everything. Was prioritizing ambition over love and family the ultimate betrayal? True or false?